Hello, this is Dr. Mike, and we are in week 2 of our History of Virginia class, and I wanted just to briefly touch on some things that for you to be considering as you work through your materials. We have done an opening quiz where we looked at the very interesting land mass of Virginia and the different, especially the coastlines have made Virginia a very interesting place to look at and to learn. You don't get a lot of geography in high school these days and other places. And so this is a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit of geography about the lay of the land. In many respects, Virginia was probably the most important state in the new colonies that are being founded. There are a lot of different reasons. Different colonies were formed for different reasons. If you remember, New England, Massachusetts was formed mainly by the Puritans and the Pilgrims, who were two different groups, but yet one's a subset of the other one. The Pilgrims had withdrawn from the Anglican Church of England, and because of the 1604 conference in which King James decided he would not give them a Presbyterian form of government, but that he would that would continue, because you see, he comes from Scotland, where he was Presbyterian. As a Presbyterian, he was a member of the church. As an Anglican, he was the head of the church. So not many people are going to give up that kind of understanding or that kind of power. So it's about power, of course. The Anglican church was founded about power. It's Henry VIII's battle with the Pope over divorce versus a new wife and producing an heir, which England always seemed to have a problem with. From the 1604 Hampton Court Conference, the only thing that came from that was the King James Bible. And James's instruction to the translators of the King James Bible, who were great scholars, was to beef up the divine right of kings. This was a teaching that was coming out of France at the time, and it made the king all powerful and had to answer to no one. And so he very definitely did not he wanted that to happen. And so that's the only thing that came out of the 1604 conference, other than the fact that two groups withdrew from the Anglican Church. One was the Pilgrims under Pastor Robinson, and the other were the early Baptists under a guy by the name of Huell Smith. They are forced to leave England because King James threatens either to imprison them or kill them, or they had to flee. And so they lived for 11 years in Leiden before they found a way to come to the New World. And so they come to Plymouth, Massachusetts, and to Boston, and later the other Puritans come to Boston. So Massachusetts is very much founded in that kind of a milieu. Rhode Island was the first Baptist colony, and Roger Williams was forced to leave, or was exiled from the Puritan colony, and he went there and started the first Baptist colony. Of course, the oldest Baptist church in America is in Rhode Island. Maryland becomes the first Catholic colony, because the Catholics were also being persecuted in England. And so they came there to live. And so, you have then, those are the religious reasons that many of the colonies were founded. New York was founded first by the Dutch as a trading center. And of course, the story of them buying Manhattan for, a few dollars worth of sparkling things and jewelry and stuff like that, or different beads, whatever. Then South Carolina, North Carolina were regional grants from King Charles to Lord Asbury for his support when Charles I was beheaded, and they were under the protectorate of Oliver Cromwell. Charles II was allowed back on the throne because several lords protected and helped him, and that's how he got the land grant of Carolina. Georgia was a penal colony, basically. It was a place where England dumped their debtors from debtors' prisons and left them there to fend for themselves. And many of them didn't even know how to plant or live. As a result, many of them died and left large numbers of orphans there without parents. And this is how the preachers George Whitefield and John Wesley first came to America, to build an orphanage for them. And in doing so, started the First Great Awakening, which saw many people converted to Christianity. Virginia basically was an Anglican colony, like South Carolina, strongly Anglican. They weren't involved with the Puritans and others, but it was built around business and around making a profit. And so when you think about that, we think about Virginia's central importance. And I want you, you'll see this as we go through the course, how that so many of our founding fathers came from Virginia. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, you know, James Madison, all these guys were what they call the Virginia cadre, because they had so much influence over what was going on in the country. When it came time to choose a place for the capital, it was Virginia. They finally went out and suggested that they place it there between Virginia and Maryland. And I think most of the land probably came from the Virginia side. But these were the first president, George Washington, first president, Thomas Jefferson, number 3, James Madison, number 4. All of these were part of that Virginia group. So you can appreciate the fact that the history of what we're studying, promotes and shows us some great insights into the growth of the country. Some of the great thinkers of our government and our time were actually there and coming from the land that we're studying. So that basically adds to the importance of what we study in this course. And so I want you to think about that going forward. There are a lot of different events, and the early events of the founding of the country, we're going to see Virginia playing a central role. So I hope that you are enjoying the course. I hope that you are reading your materials, you're spending time. That's the main thing. Do not rush through the materials trying to get assignments done and miss the point of what you are studying. It is of vital importance, and I encourage you to work carefully and to work diligently. If you saw my announcement this week, I posted a new video to replace one because of COVID. Many of our videos are hosted by different sites, museums and whatever. And if they're down because of COVID, then their sites are not maintained. So I sent you one along about the Native Americans and different cultures that I think will prove to be a help to you. Okay, I just wanted to share some things with you, some insights that I think would be a help. And so I trust that this will be a help as well. Thank you.